that begins with the political process. We might be comfortable practicing as journalists, serving as businessmen, or in other areas of life. But one truth which we cannot deny is that the quality of leadership impacts on all of us, whether you're in business, whether you're in the profession, whether you're in academics. The quality of leadership impacts all of us. And the earlier we fix this leadership problem, the better for all of us. That's the second thing. The third one is the fact of common understanding of development. Governor Daniel do when they get to public office. Very many persons who want to run for House of Assembly, if you ask them what they will do there, nobody's going to talk about the quality of laws they will make. They will say, in this constituency, I will put borehole. And I don't understand the relationship between sinking borehole and being elected to go and make laws for the good governance of the country. And if you ask those who want to go to Senate, and I'm not talking about Otumba Daniel, why they want to go for Senate, they will tell you that they will attract road to the constituency. And you can see that there is no alignment between what they are aspiring for and the role expected of them. As we don't have a common understanding of what development actually is. And if you look at something, there's something Governor Peter Obi said. In many societies, we invest our money. Why? Because of the rule of law. You are sure that if you put your investment there, it is safe and secure. If you put your investment in Nigeria, the chances are high that the state might even appropriate your investment. And so there's no incentive to invest in Nigeria. And that if you go to court, you know that the probability that a few persons might try to corrupt the system is very high. And so your investment is not secure. Why would you put an investment in Nigeria when in Rwanda you can be sure that you go through a judicial process, you are most likely to obtain proper judgment of the court? Nobody will invest in such a country. And all of this is a function of leadership. And the final thing, a common trait, is that we must intentionally mobilize our citizenry to stand up and begin to hold our government accountable. It is not a task of any one man, but as members of the fourth estate of the realm, we have a responsibility. The mobilization of Nigerians must begin now. We have another opportunity, 2023, to lay the foundation of a prosperous Nigeria, the Nigeria of our dream. We have lamented enough of lamentation. Now is the time to take action. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, Dr. Peter Side said he spoke after 3 former governors. Today, in the future, he will be a governor by affirmation. You'll be a governor by declaration. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful delivery. But I've also been told to recognize these 3 gentlemen. First is Mr. Ramon Nasir, the head, External and Media Relations of UBA. Mr. Nasir, please. Also, Tony Khan, head of PR, Globacom. Mr. Kanayo, Elder Funsho Ade Ladure. And of the representative of the Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Ojikalu, who is represented by Prince Kunle Oyewumi. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Prince Kunle Oyewumi a proper round of applause. Prince Oyewumi is just a of Senator Kalu. He is a prince of Ogbomoso.
No, no one.
And the man standing before you with this microphone is from Ogbomoso. So please, once again, give you. Okay. Also here too is Mr. Ezianaba, the editor of Vanguard. So we are going to take another remark now, and the chairman has informed me that we should make our remark short and sharp, and we should move fast now. I would like to call on our special guest, a supporter of Freedom Online, the media, and someone that a lot of us look up to. He says it the way it is. Professor Akinyemi Onigbide, Executive Secretary, Center for Development and Policy Studies, Ogun State.
I'm sorry, I'm not used to that podium kind of. They are for people of power. Tired bodies have less power. We, especially in a system where you negotiate with bandits but you refuse to talk to academics. Let me, before my remarks, tender my apologies, and you must hold Gabriel responsible for my coming late. It is not in my character. Any of my students, right from the 80s, who has graduated under me, know that you don't come late to my class. You don't submit your assignments late. I will wait for 5 minutes before I begin to teach, but once I begin, do not step into the class, because it's very destructive. I'm really sorry, I've been ready since about 8 o'clock. Gabriel told me to keep waiting that somebody was coming to pick me from my hotel. So that's just it. Bright and bleak future. We also want to be optimists. If we are not optimists, I should be out of this country by now. But we still think Nigeria something will break. But I assure you, anybody in the 50s or 60s, our grandchildren are not Nigerians. I don't know whether you said that. Our grandchildren are not Nigerians because they are not going to be born here. The children are finding their ways out. So those of us in the late 60s, going to 70s are stranded already. I cannot see myself trying to live in 8x8 room in Birmingham or anywhere in things are here. In 2000 in year 2000, Carmel published a book. I'm sure most journalists will know him. This house has fallen. A 327-page book. Also, John Campbell, the former U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, also published another book, Nigeria Dancing on the Brink. We must have a special God while we are still here, still talking about whether we have a future. Being bleak or being bright is a strategic objective. What you do to arrive at greatness or failure will depend on the route you take or the route you take or the route you refuse. You really? So where we arrive at a journey will depend on which route we are taking. No doubt about that. As the future, the senator to be the ex-governor of Ogun State. You know, we categorize between me and Sheikh Mimiko, we used to categorize the governors. You have a former governor, you have ex-governor, you have once upon a time governor, depending on when you left office. I think both Peter Obi and Good Garden are already within the range of what's upon going towards what's upon a kind of. So, gentlemen, I like the idea of leadership. Oh, what Nigeria lacks is leadership. And I also love my brother, Peter Obi, always talking about giving out statistics. The rock behind my family compound in Abeokuta cannot be explored without getting to Abuja, because it's also on the exclusive list. I think the structure is also important. The structure is important. If you don't change the structure, like I once told some people, if you bring Jesus Christ as president and Mohammed as his VP, it will feel spectacular. We are seeing how one single person is determining the fate of a party's convention. It's like we are already a monarchy in the greatest of a democracy. It's a feudalistic mentality where members of a party cannot determine what they want and how things should be done. They have to wait for another from somewhere. We have a system where the governor will pick who will be senator, who will be the House of Assembly members, who will be everywhere. What kind of democracy are we talking about in that respect? We have so much resources, we have both material and human. But I'm sure if we do not tinker with the system we're running, it's easy to blame a lot of people. Oh, you also go into politics. Wonder what kind of control we're hearing about 40 million for form, 20 million for form, and you think an academic today who cannot vote at any point in time, so 50,000 idle fund in his bank account.
Okay.
Where is the idea? You have the idea, but how do you ventilate it? Where you cannot even be part of the process for you to be paid. One time, my brother once said, I can come and go to Senate. That's Governor Daniel, many years ago. I said, that's good. How much are you? If you give me 20 million, I'll just first of all put 10 million in my own account. Buy a few agbada, at least, no matter how poor a politician is, you must have agbada, so you can at least go about and. Because I know that so many things are wrong with the system. So I want to take those, the two speakers have touched so many things that we have heard about, so many statistics from Governor Peter Obi, that I do not want to bore you again, but I'm sure that this country is on the brink, as Campbell said many years ago. Kanye said this house has fallen, but we think it's still being propped up. The earlier we do something about the structural arrangement where our structure of people can be realized, the better. It is we are moving too hastily towards the structure. I want to be optimistic, but I am not sure how long the generation after me can hang on. I was telling some people about 1 week ago that Lagos, New York in 1977, I bought a ticket for 450, return ticket, 450 naira per annum. BTA was 1,000, I got $1,620. Yes, for my BTA, 1,000 BTA. In 1979, I bought a free one, like anybody who knows like area in Mayfair, that thing is still there, tabletop. Even the evil guy that bought it for me got me a coke to pursue me to buy 139, that's for 30 naira. The suit I wore I traveled out to 77, behind Mandulas was 150 naira. The shoe, Italian shoe, was 60. Some people think I'm about 80 because we're talking like an ancient. No job, nowhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I still need to do this introduction, but the way it is, he has already introduced his arrival. Please let me officially welcome to the high table our royal guest of honor, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Iba Gani Abiodun Ige Adams. You are welcome, sir. We'll take another remark at this point, and it will come from the representative of Chief Olabode George. Please, we can show the paper, please.
Defer to all existing protocols. Governor Daniel spoke very well when he took us through the journey of Nigerian challenges. I am speaking on behalf of Chief Olabode Ikeja, Attorney Odua of Yoruba land, who is unavoidably absent. There are certain illustrations made by Mr. Peter Obi, Mr. Benga Daniel, Senator, Governor, and Alhaji McAfee about leadership. Chief Bode George intervention is a variance in such arguments, and I'll tell you why. What I'm about to say briefly, given the time allocated to me, are the illumination of his philosophical thoughts. The organizers of this lecture have chosen a very relevant result: Nigeria's political indices. Let me assure you that this poster is not a puzzle, nor a conundrum. It is as relevant could be. It gives a pathway to the Nigerian future. It invariably defines who we are. But first, that's where Chief Bode George differs with the argument that the instability in the Nigerian Union is about leadership or some other issues. It is not leadership. Let us first ask the question: is Nigeria a nation? What is a nation? A nation is about shared values. It is about common beginnings and common destiny. These are the ultimate indices that define a true nation state. Nigeria, of course, is not there yet. There is a wobbly beginning all over the place. Nigeria is not a nation in the classical sense of it. It is a country still grappling with survival. But I do not despair. Surely, Nigeria has severe challenges and searing crucibles, just like all inchoate states, grasping nationhood, struggling with the families of national existence. Truly, there are clear illustrations of despair. There are desperate moments that query the sustainability and the endurance of the Nigerian Union. Things are not what they should be. We all agree on that. We live in a state of enemy where truth is scarce, where logic is unknown. The troubling indications of rudderlessness, of rudderless strain, as observable in banditry, in urban terrorism, in primitive ritualistic values, and other ills, are enough for many patriots to give up on our survival as a nation. But despite all these provocations, alas, this is not my real cause. I will never be altered in hopeless capitulation. I will never resign to the horrid claim of forfeiture and wrong. However, I do believe that we can get it right. I do believe Nigeria is salvageable. I do believe our nation's ultimate redeeming progression inheres the ability to give every section of our society a sense of belonging, the like that Nigerians miss. And that is why the value system comes in. That if we change our values, if we retune our vision, we may start on a new step. But we must be seen to be defined by the ingredients of equity, fairness, and justice. We must be seen to be selfless and accommodating in our values, giving hope to all our citizens that the rule of law is an abiding principle for the state, regardless of ethnic provenance of sectarian principles. I am resolved, my Chief of Judge, that all enlightened nations are never some certifiable, definite arrival. No, a nation is always in progression. It is a journey towards perfection. There will always be flaws, as we are grappling with. It is on you. There will always be moments of uncertainties. From the cradle of Mesopotamia to the giantism of the Roman Republic, from the grandeur of ancient Hellenic to the magnificent might of Persia, we witness the vagaries of national beginnings, the early turbulence and conflicting epochs inherent in the formative stages of nation building. It was there equally in Alexander's Macedonia, and it was there in Britannia, and the murderous crudity of the American Wild West, where a notorious judge called Roy Bean once boasted, and that was in America. He said, "We will give this horse teeth a fair hearing before we handle it." That was in America. He would give the horse teeth a fair hearing before we handle it. That is our justice. That was the dysfunctional state of the American West. But today, there are new certitudes. There are new truths. Yes, our country has its ills. It has not failed. It has not failed. And it will not fail. As long as good men and women are willing to rise up to defend the truth, to speak against observable wrongs, and dare the odds, and defy the tools of power, to ensure that justice is the pivotal guidance upon our shore. I will not give up on Nigeria. I will only insist that the wielders of power should be just, should be fair, and should be ultimately humbled by the finitude of their own positions and the ephemeral certitude of our presence on this mother earth. This nation will not, should not, and must not fail. Like all other nations before us, we will thrive, we will endure, and we will triumph beyond the current stormy tides. God bless this nation. And God bless
you. Thank you very much, sir. Now I'd like to call on someone I've always called I've always called him president for so many years. Our relationship is over 2 decades now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Are Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Iba Gani Abiodun Ige Adams, to make his remark, please. Are, you're welcome.
I have a long list that I would not like to offend anyone here. We have most of our lecturers that always mark our street as a student. The big shot journalists. We have many editors here. And we have some of our commander-in-chiefs in the state here. In my conclusion, let me stand on the existing protocol. Well, let me just start from the word of Professor Onibide. I have listened to the stories on how our dear professor buys some goods in the 80s. And back based on my memory, when I was about to wed in 2003, when one of you, as a journalist, was my best man, Wale Adedayo. I remember we bought our suit, both I and the best man warrants. Isn't that one about 10,000 naira by day? That's 2003, precisely. And when we wore that suit, on the occasion, people say, you are a militant, how do you get this suit? You don't expect that you will buy a beautiful suit like this. And I look back at Mr. Wale and I give them the story how we got the suit, because you are the one that take me to Begista by then. He was the one that took me there to buy the suit by then. But notwithstanding, the issue of restructuring is very, very important. It's highly germane in our situation in this country. For us to avoid the bleak push-up of this country, we have to restructure this country. But when we are talking of restructuring, we have to be very, very careful. Most of our establishment, our governors, former head of state, when they are talking about restructuring, they always like to discuss about statism. But in my own position, I believe statism will be more worst than the situation we have now as a country. Because what we are practicing now is not federalism, it's completely unitary system of government. And when we allow our restructuring to hang to statism, we may turn to have about 36 emperors as a governor of our state. My position about restructuring is always based on regionalism. We have an adage in Yoruba land that when children fall, they always look the front view of their side. But when elderly fall, they look at the back. We realize when our late state, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was the premier of Western region from 1954 to 1959. We know what we achieved in the Western region on the basis of regionalism. And immediately the military took over in 1966. We were living together in this country on the basis of mutual suspicions. And things were not balanced again. When we continue to say stories about the era from 1966, 80 to 90% of our history is negative. For us to solve the problem of this country, we have to go back to the basis. How our political leaders, our father by then, have an agreement to attain independence in 1960. And we can borrow leave from the content of 1963 Constitution, which is a republic constitution, that was written and agreed by our political leader by then. By then, I think that was the time that we agreed that we are ready to solve the problem of this country. If we don't do that, we will continue to be running from pillar to post. 2023 election, when some people ask, what is your position? I said, look, just leave me out of 2023 election. You don't even ask how we solve this problem, the problem of this country, before talking about the president. There are certain politicians that came to my house, say, Gani, why are you talking about restructuring? You should be talking of the people that got to power that will solve the problem of restructuring. I say, forget about that. Those power that be, that will support you to be the president, when you get there, they won't allow you to even go near restructuring. When you serve for a period of 4 years, you'll be thinking that you need more support to serve for another 8 years. When you are living here in 8 years, you'll be thinking you need the support of the power that be again to put your puppet again. And you are leaving the position, you leave our problem with us. Let us solve the problem of this country before you become a president. Now look me and say, he said the whole soldier never died. I said, if you call me that, that's your whole cup of tea. So ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate my dear brother, Mr. Gabriel. Akindewo, I always mean Akindewo, for this wonderful program. And for the mindset of being consistent of having a beautiful lecture like this. Because I realize that every year we do come to Radisson for this kind of conference. And I always ask him that, Mr. Gabriel, báwo lẹ ṣe make here, báwo lẹ ṣe finish conference ní Radisson. Àwa gan tajẹ́ Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò kan ká tó sọ pé a fẹ́ ṣe conference ní Radisson, a máa ń rò lẹ́ẹ̀mejì. Say Ààrẹ lead that is good way. And I pray the good way will continue your life in Jesus' name. Thank you very much for this wonderful program. And I have met a lot of my oga in journalism that I have lost touch with for the past 20 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andre. Thanks for coming. The Bevista story took me to many years ago. Are, Wale Adedayo and I were actually working on the streets of Allen Avenue. We worked, I think it took us about 2 days before we finally got those suits. Because we wanted to make sure that we got the best suits. Some of the people who saw me on the street that day working with Are, they now said, I'll live with you, so you are this important. Yes, I was important. We finally got the suit for Are and Wale. They didn't get anything for me. But Mr. Benny Obaze, seeing that I brought good customers for him, actually gave me a pair of shoes. Are, I never told you this story. I actually got these very good pair of shoes for actually taking you to the vista. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have been able to afford those shoes, going by my salary. I was a poor journalist. Once again, you are welcome, sir. Thanks for your delivery. So we are moving on. At this stage, I'd like to call on Ekpon, Mr. Benga Motosho, the representative of our governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to give us a goodwill message from Mr. Governor.
I do not remember the last time I saw all the excellence here. Especially Senator Makapi. I do not remember the last time I saw him. I'm so happy to be seeing him here today, Hail and Natty. I'm happy to see our senator to be, former Governor Tumba Daniel. I'm happy to see former Governor Peter Obi. I'm happy to see our prof there. I'm happy to see the Are. I'm happy to see everybody here. And to note that even on the high table here, we have a woman. I think it will have been nice for us to have more than one. The organizers will have found a way to bring more women on this table. So I thank you for inviting Mr. Baide Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos, to this very important occasion. He will have been here by himself, but today is a dark too busy day in Lagos. The president is in town, many governors are in town, and as you can see, many former governors are in town. I would not want to go back to repeating all that the speakers have said. I wasn't here when the chairman spoke, but I was here when the keynote speaker, Otumba Bengadane, spoke. And he was talking about our recruitment process, about how our people should not sell their vote, talk about the president. That is where I would like to touch on. I do not want to stand on any podium and begin to deploy statistics, facts and figures about how bad Nigeria is. I would not want to talk about the glorious past of the country and say that nowadays we don't even know where we are going to. I do not believe that Nigeria is a country that has no redeeming feature. I read a book recently written by Hans Rosling, a Swedish physician who is also a statistician. She wrote a book with the wife of Radisson. They sat down and started thinking about our world. She's actually telling us in the book 10 things that we should know about our world. People come to tell us how bad the world is nowadays. And she says if you look at the facts and figures that we have in the world, that the world is not actually progressive. If anything, our world is progressing. So like I said, I won't want to join people who are saying bad things about Nigeria and asking Nigerians to look at the glorious past and asking Nigerians to maybe rise and all of that. If you look at Nigeria, we are making progress. Our young people are doing wonderful things all over the world and they are praising them. In entertainment, in arts, in intellectualism, you go anywhere in the world, many professors are Nigerians who are doing things that people are happy for. You talk about sports, you see Nigerians doing great things there. Even in Lagos, recently I was on a tour with Mr. Governor of technology hubs. You'll be amazed at what Nigerians are doing. Young people, how they are using technology to resolve everyday problems. And if you see these young guys, you will surely know that Nigeria is sure of its future and that Nigeria has a future. I do not say that we do not have leadership problems or followership problems. But for us to believe that there is no redeeming feature about Nigeria, I disagree. The future of Nigeria is very bright. And everything is in the hands of all of us. The old and the young one to be resilient, like Lagos State. All of the things that happened to Lagos about a year or so ago, where we have so many facilities pumped, we are even all of the things that we look at, our common hope, our common pride, our history as Lagosians, where people try to destroy everything. Today, Lagos is standing. If you look at foreign direct investment, Nigeria is not even lagging behind. Despite the fact that we Nigerians will sing bad songs about our country. Foreigners are coming here to invest. Every time they are making inquiries, you check the figures. Even we are ahead of South Africa. So why is it that we shouldn't come together like this and look at that problem that we really have and see a bright future about Nigeria? So once again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting us and to praise them for the resilience of this program. If it has gone on for 4 years, that means despite all the odds that we are facing in our country, we still have time to plan an intellectual outing like this. I thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner Mr. Omotosho. So having listened to all those brilliant speeches, I would like to once again invite the chairman to do a roundup of all of that and put his approval on everything that has been said today. Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished Senator McCarthy.
For us to be truly gender sensitive, I think the lady should say something.
Oh, she will.
Okay.
I think she's giving.
The vote of thanks.
She will give some vote of thanks now.
Thank you, distinguished senator. I was not actually excluded because if you look at the program, you will see that my name is there to give the vote of thanks. And I was waiting for that opportunity to talk. So I will hand back the microphone to you so I don't have to speak to you. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, all protocol duly observed. All the speakers, the summary, all the speakers agree that we have challenges, we have problems, and these challenges are serious, if not addressed, may have negative consequences on all of us as a nation. But there is hope in our country, Nigeria, upon the right thing being done, beginning with around good leadership and the processes of getting good leadership. That is the summary of what I have heard, in my opinion, as chairman of this. All the issues being raised at the later stage, restructuring, surround good leadership. So when you have good leadership, you sit down, they discuss with every part of Nigeria, with the rest of Nigeria, and what needs to be done, and how it needs to be done will be done. So it revolves around good leadership. So, if we say we'll not do, it has to be before. We have a constitutional limitation that there must be election 2023. What we wish to be done now may not necessarily be done now. But it is important that in 2023, we usher in good leadership to all the needs of this country. There are, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, that because of the divisions we have across this country, the fabric holding us is getting thinner and thinner by the day because of things which may have been done wrongly or things which have not been done by those who put in authority. I've shared this personal opinion with a number of people that whoever may become president of Nigeria, he or she, in my opinion, should have the spirit of forming a government of national unity that will now come with a national agenda which is not based on political interests, sectional or religious or anything like that, and that will easily pass. Whether you call it restructuring, whether you call it devolution, whatever, but you need to develop an agenda. We talk of lack of unity. The way to bring unity is to bring the interest and say, look, God has put me in this position. I come from this political background, but the challenges before us affect all of us. And I want unity in addressing this fundamental issue. Then there will be a national agenda that political coloration will not make important issues, not to be done or implemented in this country. The leadership recruitment process, yes, money is important in politics, but money should not determine politics in its entirety. Money is important. There is no democracy, or even the countries that are not democratic. Economic privileges and power are being used to sustain them in office. But let's use it positively. Let's use it positively. The private sector has a lot to play. And I hope they play it well. Because I get surprised sometimes when I hear or read, whether true or not true, the private sector trying to determine political direction. If they miscalculate, if they're trying to set their business, they can lose everything. Yes, if they force what exclusively serves their interest and does not serve national interest, it can boomerang, and instead of saving what they have, they can end up losing what they have. They should look at the situation in the country and help to promote what can help to sustain Nigeria and to develop Nigeria, and not otherwise. And I hope the private sector will hear this and take it. If they play that kind of positive role, they can contribute in the recruitment process of political leaders in this country at all levels. So, I'm just summarizing what I have had as chairman. I may not have summarized it all. So there is hope, but there is a lot of work to be done, and it is doable. And the work should start now, because this room call is filled with journalists who can spread the word out that on what we need to do. I tell people that, look, even if money bags come and give you money, take it, but do the right thing. Go and do the right thing. Tomorrow, let them keep their money if they don't want you to take their money and do the right thing. Because when they give you the money, you're not going to give them receipt anyway. Even if you are going to give receipt, it's not refundable. But do the right thing. And we all know what the right thing should be. Let not money be what will determine what we do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the day is long gone, and a lot of useful contributions have been made. On behalf of the organizers, I thank each and all. The bottom line is coming, but as chairman, I thank all of you for honoring the invitation to be here. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I think our chairman needs another round of applause. Deserves another round of applause. So quickly we move on to the next item on the agenda. It's not on the program, but the organizers of this lecture, Freedom Online, would like to recognize and appreciate people who have contributed to this by presenting plaques to some of our distinguished audience, people on this side of the audience too. This is not an award ceremony. We are not giving out awards. We are giving out plaques. To come receive a plaque, you do not need to give us an acceptance speech. Just take a bow, collect the plaque, and go back to your seat. We do not need an acceptance speech, please. The names of the organizations and the individuals who will be receiving the award. We would like for us to make it very quick. You heard my chairman say that the day is fast spent. That is an indirect way of telling me to move faster. So we will start with Globe. Yes, please. To receive the award on behalf of Globacom is Mr. Tony Khan. Oh, I said award. Like Mr. Chairman said, collect my award, collect my money, and vote for your conscience. I would like to receive the plaque on behalf of Globe, Mr. Tony Khan. The plaque will be presented by Dr. Omoni Fagbemi. Mr. Tony Khan. Dr. Fagbemi, please. Who has the plaque, please?
Please, let's see. Can we see?
Congratulations to Globacom. Thanks for all your support to Freedom Online and to this lecture. Next up is UBA. To receive the plaque on behalf of UBA is Mr. Ramon Nasir, and the plaque will be presented by Mr. Dele Adesomi. Mr. Nasir, please. The plaque will be presented by Mr. Adesomi. I think I'm too used to the media presenting awards.
Please don't block my distance.
Thank you, UBA. Thank you, Mr. Nasir.